And hello and good morning. We are live on Bowles.tv, BOLES.TV. I'm David Bowles, and we are here with you live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Well, that was fun with Jana Marie. She has a little scheduling problem today, and we didn't know if she could make it at all. And we thought, well, what if we just put you right at the top of the show, 9 o'clock, and then you can do your thing and you can go. And she said, okay. And it worked out. So that was a lot of fun. A little change of pace, flip things around, get things going in the right direction. Well, it is a weird and strange day. It is a beautiful, bright day on the East Coast, but the temperature is about 25 degrees. Now, as you know, 6 days ago, it was 60 degrees here. It's crazy, weird, baffling weather patterns. And so we are wont to do lately this week, just because it's so fascinating, especially with the war going on in Ukraine. Here is the price of Ethereum and the Bitcoin. Everybody's down for the count. It was way up yesterday. It was almost $3,000 yesterday for one Ethereum, and now it's down to 2,700. And you feel for the NFT artists, because I'm sure that there are a lot of artists out there who are waiting to drop, as they say, a new creation. But they don't want to drop it when the price is dropped. 2,600, 2,300, they want to drop it when the price is sky high, and then it's locked into that price. So I feel. And the gas price for Ethereum, let's check that out. One of these days, this is going to drop to cents, to pennies. But right now, if you're on OpenSea and you're buying something, your gas fee is $20, which is a little high, but I've paid higher. Have you heard of the super follows? It's a new thing and an old thing on Twitter. And some people like it, some people don't like it. Well, this is what I think of a super follow. A super follow allows you, technically, to connect with your followers in a super duper way. And I know that sounds a little cynical the way I'm saying it, but it's not, because I think it's kind of interesting, because you can have a private conversation on Twitter with your very best friends and followers and even enemies, if you want to put it that way. And why would you want to super follow in a private place when you can just have a conversation on Twitter? Well, there are reasons that I kind of post what I do on Twitter, the kind of thoughts and innocuous images. Because in the past, oh boy, have I been burned by nasty people who just want to come there and take me on and put me in my place, and who are you to do this? And I remember maybe 2 or 3, 4, 5 years ago, I had written an article quoting a headline. And it was about dumb and beaners. And beaners is a derogatory term for Hispanics. But that was the topic of my podcast. Denigrating names. And that was the title of an article that I was responding to. And Apple censored that title by putting asterisks, BEADD, which kind of upset me. And then I got attacked by this woman on Twitter all afternoon, telling me that I'm racist. You don't even know who I am. I don't even know who you are. Why are you attacking me? Oh, you said beaner. I said, well, I didn't say beaner. Did you listen to the podcast? Because if you listen to 5 minutes of it, you're going to realize that everything you're saying is just the opposite of what I did. I don't have to listen to it. I can see the title, and you used beaner in the title. And then she's trying to get all of her friends to come and attack me. And some of them did. Oh, it's wrong to use it. And I would speak to them, say, hey, if you would just listen to the podcast, you would see that all this rage that's being created around me and around you, because you've been sucked into this, doesn't mean anything, because it's all untrue. A person is jumping to a conclusion based on a title and not on content. And then her friends kind of said, oh. And they backed off. But she didn't, because she couldn't back down, because she was on the attack, that I was, some privileged white businessman talking down to people about derogatory labels. I couldn't believe it. It was very upsetting. And from that point on, I realized, okay, I really have to be careful on Twitter, because there are people out there who just love to pick a fight and come after you for no reason other than because they're bored. Even if they're wrong, they don't care. They're having a fun time trying to take you down. And I have always said that being on Twitter is like a backstage, back alley, in the street abortion clinic. That's what it's like. That's the tone and the sovereignty of the site. People spewing hatred at each other. And Facebook, at least at that time, it's different now, ever since 2016, that Facebook was like being in your grandmother's parlor, where you just sit there all proper and have nice conversations, and if you said something out of line, you'd be censored, and you'd be told to sit out for a few days. So you had a choice. Did you want to be rough and tumble on Twitter, or did you want to have the facade of being polite and harmonious on Facebook? And then 2016, with Donald Trump, wiped all of that out, and the Russians. It's a cesspool now. So then you think, well, how do you have a conversation with somebody where you can talk freely, and no one's going to attack you, and no one's going to come after you and call you names? And Twitter has made this super follow available. Now, you can still cuss and disagree with everybody, but in order to do it, you have to have skin in the game. You have to pay for a super follow. Now, there are 3 levels. This is like the second step in beta testing, so we've been invited to test this. Oh, there's Nora. Good morning, Miss Nora. You can choose to have people super follow you for $3 a month, or I think the second tier is $6 a month, and then the massive tier, I think, of $10 a month, to have private conversations with you on Twitter that only other super followers of that person can see and respond to. That's the idea behind Superfollow. So it's a very interesting idea, actually. Because, as you can tell, people, when you have subscriber-only chat, like on Twitch or on YouTube, people tend to behave because they're spending their money. You don't get hateful people wanting to spend $5 a month or $3 a month to come in and attack you because you're making money off of their hatred. And that they don't like. They want to pick on you and call you names for free. Well, okay. No, I'm not playing that. And I don't engage with that kind of negativity anymore. I either just block them or I just move on and don't say anything. Dora says, yeah, like a group text. I was wondering what superfollow meant. Yes, we're going to explain it all because it's very confusing. And some people like it, some people don't. I'm in the Discord server and I said, look, the way to get a superfollow to work is to bundle it with Twitter Blue. Now, Twitter Blue costs $3 a month, and a superfollow costs $3 a month per person that you decide to superfollow. And then somebody else in the group said, yeah, like Twitch, or, which is sort of like Twitch, or you could do it the other way, Twitch Prime, Amazon Gaming Prime, or you could do it the other way, that if you buy Twitter Blue, then you're entitled to one superfollow as well, which is how Twitch does it. You subscribe to Amazon Gaming and you can follow one channel for free without charge, $5 every month, but you have to sign up every month. So I thought, ooh, that's great. I like that. Because right now, Twitter Blue, I love Twitter Blue because I can change my colors. I can change my Twitter icon. I can do all kinds of things that people say, yeah, it's neat, but we shouldn't have to pay for that privilege. It should be part of the service. So in order to make Twitter more personalized for you, you have to pay $3. So I think, okay, Twitter Blue should be free. I get that. Well, why not just bundle it with Superfollow? And then it's all fixed. And people would like it and enjoy it. But who knows? Now, when they did this initial super follow thing, I think like a year ago they did some testing, and it seemed with very few, I think like 8 people. And people thought that it didn't go very well, not enough people subscribed, they didn't understand what it was, and now they're expanding it again, so we're in this beta test thing to see if this, works. And I just picked the $3. Lowest possible amount. If it could be $1, I think that's even better. I think $3 is too much for a super follow, and $3 is too much for Twitter Blue. Just make everything 99 cents, and people will be super duper happy. So this is what Jana, the mysterious Jana Marie, no one knows where she comes from or what she does, but she does pop here every once in a while, and she super followed me. So she's paying to get to know me. So this is how my super follow looks on her account. So you see the pink thing that says super follow, right? And this is what it looks like. Okay. She better, exactly, that's what I said. She was actually falling asleep last night when she did the super follow. I don't know how she did it, but when she was gently awakened and told that there were screenshots being taken of her super follow, she just nodded her head and her eyes glazed over. So Jana, or a person who shall remain nameless, or you click on the super follow, the pink super follow, okay? And then here's the next thing. So then you get this screen. And you can, unfortunately, you can only do this on iOS phone or an Android phone. You cannot do this on the web. And nobody who is involved in this, from a user point of view, understands why. Why can't people, if you're using a desktop browser, super follow you? It doesn't make any sense. But I guess it's billing. That's what it is. Because we, as the creator, I believe, get most of the money. And that's why when you apply to be when you're accepted in the program, then you have to fill out all these forms. You get paid by Square, and then because it's a subscription, you have to be cleared by Apple. So all of that takes 1 to 3 weeks, but it took about a week. So you subscribe via your phone. I guess that's why you can't do it on desktop, because they don't have it worked out how to subscribe super follow on desktop. So here you go, super follow. And then I wrote this, and I can change this anytime. Hi there. This is a special sacred place for sharing thoughts and plans and dreams. Okay? A lot of people just put placeholder text in there. Now they're all panicking because they don't know how to fix it because it looks dumb. Well, I know better. And Twitter said, look, when you start this, what you put in there, you can't change, especially your payment system. You can't decide on $3 now and want to go up to $10 later, or the other way around, because this is all coded into the Apple Pay system and the Android Pay system or the Google Store, whatever it's called. So blah, blah, blah. So this is a sacred space with hot strings. Get bonus content when you subscribe. And this is what I wrote. You will get to shape future projects and also form the content of our Bulls TV live stream. Yay. I will answer your questions, offer advice. Now, I may change this, update this as we go on, and turns out there is a way where you can fix this stuff, but you can't change your subscription level. So, next, super follow. Only super followers can see this tweet. So you click on that, you say, okay, pay, and then you're in as a super follow. And this is what people see. Only super followers can see this tweet. Find and recognize people, get recognized. You have a little super follower badge. By clicking below, you agree to purchase terms. Okay, so. Okay, then there it is, $2.99 a month. And then, after you subscribe, you get this pop-up message saying you are now super following, which is delightful. And this thing changes from super follow to super following. And then you get all the secrets. When you click on the super follow part, and it says right here, you get this alert that says you can see this tweet because you super follow. And here I go. Here I'm replying to my own super follower's tweet so I can get a good screenshot. Meow, meow, meow. You can see this tweet because you super follow. So that's fun. And it's pink and purple. And then you can reply right here, reply to David Bowles, super follower. This is fun. David Bowles and their super followers can see your tweet, and nobody else can. Now, this is, excuse me, problematic a little bit. If you use some kind of automatic posting system to publish, like Buffer or Sprout Social or something like that, because these super follower tweets are not available. So you can't reply to them in that external software. You have to reply to them either on the web. You can reply and interact on the web with Superfollow, but you can't purchase a Superfollow except on your phone. So that's going to change my plans moving forward, because for me, if I'm going to spend a lot of time tweeting, I'm going to be tweeting to, hopefully, super followers and not the general public, because the general public are not always as nice as they should be. They're looking for the fight. Here you go. Welcome to my super follower stream. And then these are the notifications I get on my phone. Hey, your super follower Hardcore ASL said this. Your super follower, this is fun. Your super follower Hardcore ASL quoted your tweet and said neat. So I get notifications that only I can see about super follows. And then when I look at the messages that have been posted, I see Hardcore ASL, and then I see, hey, super follows you. You and your super followers can see this tweet. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Super follow. Now appearing on a Twitter page near you. And when I go into my account, see if you see right here. So it's tweets, tweets and replies, and then super follow tweets. So right now I have 3 super followers. Super follow tweets, and I click on that live on the desktop, and this is what I see. Everything is super follow. So I have 3 super followers. One is the super follow Twitter account, which doesn't do anything. One is Hardcore ASL, and the other one is my Bowles blogs thing, because when Jan Marie's not here, I need a way to test to see if things are working. So I have subscribed to myself as a super follow. So there we go. That's how many we have so far. 2 and 1 of nothing. But that's going to be the future. These walled silos, these sacred secret places where people can get together publicly, but privately, and securely, and people won't be able to find them or harass them. Unless they want that. Now, here's a very interesting article that I found. How to Read Perversion. Now, is that a great title or not? It's a great title. Kremlin nuclear propaganda and Russian war aims. Ukrainians have been fighting for a whole week now, defending their country. Every day that they resist the Russian invasion gives the rest of us time to do something to help, to reassess and affirm our own values, to think about the future, to consider how it came to be. Yeah, well, we'll see with the nuclear plant on fire. And now that Putin owns the nuclear plant, now he has the ultimate nuclear bomb. He can hold all of Russia hostage. Do as I say, I'm going to blow up this plant. Doris says, I'm getting depressed over this war. I am too. It's just never ending, and it's only just beginning. I mean, you look at the old images and film from World War II of the refugees piling everything they have on their backs and leaving. It's the same thing going on in Ukraine, and he's getting away with it. It's just unbelievable. And Biden says, no troops on the ground. And there should have been troops on the ground from everybody in NATO and everybody in that area the day that Putin started it. And now it's too late. You can't put it back. You can't put the sock back on the shoe. What do you think is going to happen? I don't know. They say that the only person who's going to decide what happens is Putin. And Zelensky says he wants to have a meeting with Putin, and I think it's ridiculous, but they say, no, that's the only way it's going to happen. The two of them have to talk. But Putin's not interested in talking. Putin makes the decision. And he has decided he's going to have Ukraine, and if he can't have it, nobody will. And then they look at Chechnya and how he flattened it, and they said that's what he's going to do to Ukraine. He's going to flatten it. He doesn't care about the people. All he wants is the land and the resources. And they're saying, we have to give Putin an off-ramp. Well, what off-ramp? He has said there is no other solution other than him owning and controlling Ukraine, period. That's it. So how do you deal with an intransigent 2-year-old who is 70 years old and running Russia? Lindsey Graham is calling for the internal assassination of Putin. And it's probably going to have to be something like that. His own people are going to have to take him down because the United States won't. Maybe someone in Europe will. But you see this stuff on the news about, the Ukraine people are so brave, they're so wonderful. And I'm thinking, they're not really facing the bombs or the bullets yet. They're relatively safe, and they're dressed in civilian clothes. They're not going to be able to stand up to a tank attack. Dora says she saw a video of Russians being asked about the war and all turned away and said, all fake news. Yeah, in Russia, that's what they're being told. They're being told these are Nazis, and that Ukraine has asked for help to be freed from the Nazis, and Russia has decided to go help their neighbor and to answer the call for help. That's the story in Russia. Now, what I don't understand is Putin can come in there with all these troops and bomb nuclear power plants. I don't understand why Ukraine isn't bombing them right back. You've declared war on us. Why are we only fighting in Ukraine? Why don't you put a few missiles near things that Putin holds dear, including his multi-million-dollar yacht, if you could find it? Blow that up. And he says, Ukraine has nuclear missiles. But Ukraine, as you can see in this article, has no nuclear weapons. They gave them up in the 1990s as part of the agreement to have peace in Europe. It's not just that Russia has broken its promise to defend Ukraine, which was spelled out in something called the Budapest Memorandum in 1994. It is blaming the country that abandoned nuclear weapons for acquiring them, while itself is holding the world's largest nuclear arsenal. And even as Russia does so, Putin is brandishing his own nuclear weapons in a way that is highly irresponsible, suggesting that their use would be acceptable in a senseless war that Russia began without provocation. Nothing that the Kremlin has said about Russian war aims actually makes any sense. But it does make nonsense. The war on the ground in Ukraine is all too real. But the Russian war is also fought in and for unreality to extend its hold on our minds as far as possible. When unreality spreads, reality becomes more murderous. The senseless talk about nuclear weapons is an example of this, but I hope to keep on showing the creation of nonsense is an essential element of Russian warfighting. As such, it calls for analysis and resistance. That's going to be a hard thing to get going. Then Macron in France. Putin said, we're ridding the Ukraine of Nazis. Now, if anybody knows anything about Nazis, it's the French, if they know history. And Macron's like, what are you talking about? There are no Nazis in Ukraine. It's run by a Jewish guy. But somehow Putin thinks the world is just going to believe every lie. And I don't know if cutting them off is enough. I don't think Putin cares. Putin only cares about himself and saving face. And the only way he will save face is by declaring war in Ukraine and Russia owning it, period. How do you deal with it? So we like to talk about NFTs here, and there is this now NFT of the Ukrainian flag launched by Pussy Riot member to raise funds for war-torn country and sells for $6.7 million. The sale, organized by the Ukraine DAO, is raising funds for Comeback Alive, which will distribute supplies to Ukrainian civilians and the army. And this, if you can believe it, is the NFT. It's the Ukrainian flag. But it's, I guess, not about that. It's about raising money to try to get money into Ukraine through Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I also read a very interesting thing that people in America and around the world are going to Airbnb and renting houses and apartments and places in Ukraine, especially Kyiv. And you would say, well, why would people want to go at Airbnb in the middle of a war? That's not what it's about. It's a seamless, frictionless way to get money into the hands of the people who are being prosecuted and persecuted. So you go and you rent somebody's house for 3 months, and they've left their house because they're in Poland, but they get 3 months of payments from Airbnb. And they said the responses from the people whose property is in Ukraine with this Airbnb thing, or they're just so grateful to have the money because it's in a safe place. It's distributed by Airbnb. It's a seamless way of getting money directly to people without having to go through a lot of rigmarole and red tape. And it's very, very, very smart. I think it's just a wonderful idea. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has become the world's first crypto war, which is absolutely fabulously fascinating, as the Washington Post adroitly called it. And following a call out from the Ukrainian government on Twitter, the country has so far racked up an estimated $40 million in crypto donations, with NFTs contributing to more than 7 million of the total. On March 2, an NFT of the Ukrainian flag sold to a pool of donors for $6.75 million, 22,250 Ethereum. The flag was auctioned off by Ukraine DAO, a type of community-led entity with no central authority, which was co-founded by Russian Pussy Riot member Nadia on February 24. Proceeds are being donated to Comeback Alive, which will distribute food, medical supplies, and other necessary services to civilians and the Ukrainian military. Donations are still being accepted. So that's really wonderful how crypto and NFTs are forms of currency and forms of value that can be seamlessly traded from one person to another. A non-fungible token, NFT, that cannot be controlled by a government or any other centralized unit. That is the whole idea between crypto and reality. It's distributed and it cannot be stopped or blocked by one person. And now we're just getting started, but it's time for our very first blood pressure break. Back in a moment. And we are back for break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.tv, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Tomorrow, Sunday, 11 a.m., Jana Marie is here, teaching a hardcore ASL lesson and chatting about fun facts and disability, and sometimes it just gets weird and wacky, and it's a lot of fun. So while we were on break, Dora asked a question. Says, crypto is great for the war, but after the war, won't it create a very great disparity between the haves and the have-nots? From all the reading I'm doing, not one person has answered my question. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Are you saying that people who have crypto will have more than people who don't have crypto? And while you're maybe answering me, I just want to revisit this to make it clear because it's a little confusing. Buying this Ukrainian flag, they made one of them as an NFT, and it's simple, it's nothing, it's two colors, right? But it means everything because it's a fake, not really fake, it's a fun way to raise a lot of money through a DAO to help the Ukrainian people. What's a DAO? We've talked about it here before, but here is the definition. A DAO is a decentralized, autonomous organization. It's an entity with no central leadership. Decisions get made from the bottom up, governed by a community organized around a specific set of rules enforced on a blockchain. DAOs are internet-native organizations collectively owned and managed by their members. Now, the .eth names that we have, that is managed by a DAO. The NFT of the Ukraine flag is a DAO project. All these people got together and said, look, we're going to sell this NFT for $7 million, and we're all going to contribute to it and ask for people to contribute to it, and then we're going to give it to the Ukrainian people. And they do the same sort of thing like buying a copy of the United States Constitution, which is like millions and millions of dollars. And regular people would like to say that they own a piece of the United States Constitution. But if you don't have 10, 20, 30, 50, $100 million, you're not going to own any part of the U.S. Constitution. So what they do is they form kind of a buying unit. In the vegan world, many years ago, these were like co-ops, food co-ops, where you go and you pay a monthly fee and you get access and you go and you dedicate your time and your energy once, twice, 3 times a week to the co-op, and everybody gets cheap food prices. This is the same sort of thing with a DAO, buying a part of the Constitution. You get all these people together, we're the Constitution DAO, and we're all going to own little bits of it depending on how much Ethereum we buy. There we go. We have a new follow. Browser Dude, nice to have you with us. I hope you have something delightful to share. If you're interested, we're always here and willing to negotiate the thoughts of the day. So everybody said, well, I'd like to have a little piece of the Constitution. So you become part of the DAO, you buy your part of the Constitution, and the Constitution belongs to the DAO, but since you're part of it and you bought into it, you're part owner, which I think is just a wonderful idea. So something that would normally be out of reach of a centralized form of finance is decentralized under a DAO. Dora says it costs a lot of money to buy 1 Bitcoin. That's very super duper true. 40 grand. Right now, 1 Bitcoin costs 40 grand. Only the affluent can afford it. Are we all going to be rich? What happens to the less well-off? Well, that's a very good question. And you've made me want to go back to this, because on break I checked it. Ether is tanking. Ethereum is tanking again. Now 26. The Bitcoin's also down. Down 3%, but holding steady at almost 41,000. Ethereum is down 5. And this is just not on purpose, but do you notice it's yellow and blue? Ethereum is blue, the Bitcoin is yellow. Those are the Ukrainian flag colors. It has nothing to do with Ukraine, but it does because it's there, but it was not intentionally done that way. That's from Google Finance. So that's a very good question. is what happens to people who don't have Bitcoin. Now, it's true there are people who purchased Bitcoin 5 years ago when one Bitcoin was $1,000. And as you now know, that one Bitcoin, if you held on to it and didn't tell anybody you had it, is now worth $41,000. Now, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax on that if you ever buy anything or purchase something or sell something, because they're going to know that you made what, $40,000 on your initial purchase of $1,000. So the idea with crypto is not about who has it, but it's about how it can be distributed and controlled. Because right now, people who are unbanked tend to be very poor, and they have no access to a checking account. So they have to go to check cashing places and pay fees and get workday loans that they can never pay off. And then there are like regular people, the middle class, I guess you'd say, who bank. And if they have a job that allows them to do direct deposit, then they have a checking account. But if you're a day worker or you deal mainly in cash, you're probably going to pay a fee monthly to be able to have access to your cash. Pay $3 for a withdrawal, $2 for a deposit. You're overdrawn, they charge you $25. It's a vicious cycle where you're throwing money away at an institution so they can just charge you service fees and keep your money, which is very unfortunate. So the idea of a decentralized form of currency is that it gives everyone access to the opportunity to be decentralized and to manage your own money. So if you only have, and you don't have to buy one Bitcoin, you can buy a little tiny piece of a Bitcoin, a little tiny piece of Ethereum. You don't buy one Bitcoin at a time. Very few people can afford to do that unless they are ultra rich. You just buy 0.0007 Bitcoin. And that's enough to get started. And then the idea is, if you have the money, or people you know have the money, you could very easily pool your money to make a purchase or to go somewhere or to get money to other people. Doris says, good point, didn't think of that, bank fees. And it gives you a way of controlling your own money where you can move things and buy things without having to go through an authoritarian system. It's just your wallet and what you decide to spend it on and what you decide to collect. And you can send Bitcoin and you can receive Bitcoin. And there are some places where you can buy goods online just by using Bitcoin. And you're going to get taxed on it, which is a problem. If you switch from Bitcoin to Ethereum, which is called a swap, you're going to be charged a fee for that. And there are fees in buying Bitcoin because you have to pay gas fees, you have to pay a processing fee. Some places have no fees. It is sort of like banking, but the idea is that no one, once you have your money, no one can take it away from you. I'll tell you a story yesterday. I have a friend who works in this building. A wonderful man. He was talking about how he worked for 38 years in a union job, and he very happily has, from that job alone, a $7,000 a month pension coming his way when he decides to retire. But he's not ready to retire yet. He's going to keep working. And he's young, 54. And he told me the story how several years ago, a credit union received a notification from the IRS that he had died. And he said he only had $600 in the account, but, in 10 years, 15 years, he thought it would be worth $1,000. And he was notified by the IRS, you are dead, and we've taken that $600. And he said, what? So he went to the credit union, which is in a different town from where he lives now, so he had to drive a while to get there. And he went in there and said, why? Why did you close my account? And why did you give the IRS my $600? And they said, well, what are we supposed to do? You're dead. The IRS said you're dead, and they were collecting the money for whatever reason. I said, but I don't owe the IRS any money. He said, well, maybe they got you mixed up with somebody. So he's going around and around and around, and finally he just said, which surprises me, look, forget it. This is not worth $600 of my life, because he had had a stroke. He was not feeling well at the time. He's better now. So, by making a false accusation or by getting caught up in red tape, suddenly you're dead, and your $600 you were saving for your retirement is now gone and goes back to the IRS. And he said he wants to live as long as possible because all this money he's poured into the system, he's not going to get back, but he wants to get it back. But he says, if I die, where does all that money go that I paid into the system? He said, my family doesn't get it back, the government keeps it. So that's the idea behind Bitcoin, is that there is no controlling authority. It's decentralized, your money is out there, and it belongs to you. Now, there is the problem of inequity in that you have to have a little bit of technical savvy to get started. You have to know what a wallet is, you have to know how to install it, you have to have internet access somehow in order to move money on the blockchain. Now, most people have some form of that so they can get onboarded and they can make transactions. But if you're in a place, war-torn Ukraine, where there's no internet access, then you're going to have trouble. And Elon Musk said, hey, my satellite internet is going to Ukraine. And today he said, oh, by the way, if you have my internet, try to hide the dish so they can't see that it's a dish. And don't tell anybody you have it. And if you're near, like, the woods, try to move the dish away from where you are. Like, make it anonymous, like it's part of a rock or something, because otherwise they're just going to blow it up and knock you down if you want to keep your internet access. And there are all kinds of coins everywhere. There's XLM, which I guess is selling for under $1, but it's a stable coin that you can then, you know, if you're getting credit or cash back and XLM, then you can later switch it for Ethereum. Coinbase has a debit card where you can make purchases and get up to 4% back on a coin of your choosing. And Ethereum gives you 1% back, but XLM gives you 4% back. So the smart people are saying you put US dollars on your Coinbase card, your debit card, spend, get 4% back in XLM, and then after a little while, $10, $20 when you earn it, then you flip it over into Ethereum and you buy other things. Or you just hold on to it. So these are all good questions, very confusing times, but we have to try to figure it out because this is all going to affect us eventually. Now, speaking of being affected, oh, you've heard me ramble on and rant about student loans. They are the condemnation of my life and my beautiful wife's life, and a lot of people that I really like lives. And they're mostly artists who go to graduate school 30 years ago and are now still drowning in these horrible loans. And Joe Biden expects us to start paying them back at the end of May. And I read an article from somebody yesterday who said, look, if he's not going to forgive these loans, the way we fight back is for all of us to pay nothing, because we have paid nothing, none of us, for 2 years. And Biden said, oh, we're going to crash the economy, we can't sustain, not having people repay their loans, everything's going to be terrible. The economy's never been better, and nobody's been paying their loans for 2 years. So what's the point of continuing? So they're saying, go on strike, do not start repaying, pay nothing, and if everybody pays nothing, what are they going to do? Go after all of us? And my answer is, they will go after all of us. That's not a smart thing to do. I had one student who was an undergraduate, and she had an existing loan from a different school that was 3 years overdue, and she said, I'm not paying it. I said, well, what did you do with the letter that you got? She said, I threw it in the trash. I said, okay, you threw it in the trash, but what are you going to do about it? I said, well, she said, what do you mean? It's in the trash. And I said, wait a minute. Just because you threw it in the trash doesn't mean it's gone. You're dealing with the federal government. The federal government is a machine. It runs 24 hours a day, every day of the week for the rest of your life. They're not going to forget it. Well, I'll wait 10 years, before, then it'll fall off. I said, it won't fall off in 10 years because they're going to keep renewing it and coming after you, and they're going to take your Social Security at 15% a month. Doris says, I was waiting for Biden to mention loan forgiveness, but he didn't. I agree with you. You can't ignore repayment. Yeah, it's very, he's just turned into a liar about these student loans. It's supposed to be 10, then 50. Well, I can't do anything without Congress. It's revolting. So here's a very interesting story from Mother Jones with this great title again from March 2nd. U.S. government pushed hundreds of married couples into disastrous student loans. And I have to admit, this is the program that my beautiful wife and I are part of. We both had a lot of loans from undergraduate, and when you're young and stupid and you don't keep your paperwork and things get lost and misplaced, it's very, 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 very easy to go into default on a loan that you didn't know existed because you didn't pay attention, because you're dumb, because you threw the letter in the trash and thought that solved your problem. Now, I was never like that, but a little $300 emergency loan that you get so you can eat turns around and comes back 10 years later, and it's $30,000. So what are you going to do? When the Biden administration made it easier last year for Americans doing public service to have their student loan forgiven, thousands of borrowers saw their debts reduced or eliminated altogether. But some were left out. One group of debtors that fell through the cracks, couples who used a government program to consolidate their loans after getting married. That is what we are on. We are on a consolidated direct loan from the feds, which means that we took all of my loans, all of my wife's loans, we put them all together into one lump sum, and we make one payment a month, which sounds great, and it sort of has been because it solved our problem. It put us out of default. But it's also something you can't escape from, and they don't offer it anymore. The plight of borrowers with spousal consolidation loans hasn't gotten much media coverage, and new numbers obtained through Freedom of Information suggest why. According to FIOD material shared with Mother Jones by the Student Borrower Protection Center, in total there are only 776 borrowers with spousal consolidation loans that are still being repaid and are expected to be repaid in the future. That's just a tiny fraction of the 45 million people with student debt in the United States, but their situation can be quite dire. 776 of us. I had no idea. I guess there's a special Facebook group you can go join and talk about this because it's a big mess. But not really if you're married. It's what happens if you're not married, where it gets very, very nasty. And at the time we were getting out of our default and getting into it, this was really a lifesaver because it allowed us not to make two payments, but one payment. This was a very unique product that was created, and the fact that you can't separate them, I'm not aware of any other product that is designed that way. They stopped making these loans back in 2006. So these are really, really, really old loans at this point. Consolidated loans can become especially problematic when marriages fall apart. Divorce does not legally impact the liability on those loans. They were written specifically to say that both borrowers will remain on the hook for these loans. That requires the former spouses to work together in order to make payments. This could put borrowers in physical danger. Domestic violence is a really big problem with these loans. These loans actually put survivors of domestic violence in a very precarious position. That is true. Not for us, but I can understand, you're getting divorced or you're getting beat up by a wife or a husband or a whatever, and you still have to talk to them to make the payment because you have to recertify every year. So you have to go find your abuser and say, look, I need all your tax information so we can recertify our loan together. And you can't separate them. I asked with this public service forgiveness thing if it's possible for one of us, both of us, to get forgiveness and to separate the loans. And I was told by someone who said they knew everything, yes, you can. But this says, no, you can't. But even when marriages don't involve abuse and don't end in divorce, a spousal consolidation loan can still cause major financial issues. For borrowers like Chris and his wife, whose loans were consolidated in 2005 before the forgiveness program was created in 2007, the issue took on a new urgency in 2021 when the Biden administration announced its temporary student debt reform. The new waiver made it easier for borrowers with some type of loans to pursue forgiveness. But the waiver didn't do much to address spousal consolidation loans. And the thing about these student loans is you can never, ever, ever get out from under them. Bankruptcy is supposed to be the means. You've made a mess of your life. You have to start all over, but not if you have student loans. They never, ever, ever, ever get forgiven. Unless you're 80 years old and you've had a heart attack and you're blind. Then some judge somewhere might say, well, you have no capability to repay the loan, so I'm dismissing them. But if you're getting any kind of support from the government in Social Security or in some sort of pension or a disability payment, they will take 15% of your payment to repay your student loans. So after browsing a Facebook group about loan forgiveness that didn't have much information related to his specific situation, Chris decided to create a new group. At first, Chris expected his new Facebook group would be small. Prior to 2021, he hadn't actually known anyone else who had a spousal consolidation loan, or a disparate constellation of stories just strewn across the internet. It felt really lonely not to have anyone to talk about it. And then they worked it out and everybody talks about it and they get together. Now, Chris pinned his hopes on Congress, where lawmakers have introduced legislation that would allow borrowers with these loans to separate them. That would make it easier for Chris to have his debt forgiven because he's divorced and he doesn't want to be talking to his ex-wife and paying her loans when he just wants to pay his loans. My short-term plans are to figure out how to continue to pull people into our group and try to get the Joint Consolidation Loan Separation Act pushed through Congress and Senate. That's the only way we can be assured that we can move forward. Well, Chris, I can tell you, good luck with that, pal, because nobody cares and no one's going to help you, not especially Joe Biden. He doesn't care. Elizabeth Warren cares. AOC cares. Bernie cares. But Joe Biden doesn't care. And I guarantee you the Senate, run by the Reddos from the GOP, do not care. So what are you going to do, pal? You're stuck. You got to figure it out. Is it better to get divorced, or is it better to remain married? Not for the sake of the children, but for the sake of the consolidated spousal loans. It's a new world. And now we're going to take our final blood pressure break and come back and play a little chess. Oh yes, to round out the week. I'll see you in a moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, BOLES.tv. We are here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And yes, just finishing the conversation about these student loans. They're just terrible and pernicious. And yes, people get involved. And yes, you're 18 years old. And do you understand that when you put your name on the signature so you can pay your rent and eat, this money is going to follow you for the rest of your living days? Do you agree? Yes, I'll sign it. I need to eat tonight. It's predatory. And it's not the loan people's fault. It's really the universities and colleges' fault, because it should be more affordable. People shouldn't have to take out thousands and thousands of dollars in loans to go to a good school. But you do, and then you live with it. And then it just becomes this horrible game you have to play where you have to follow all of the insights and procedures and try to figure out not how to beat the system, but not to let the system beat you. And the system is made to beat you down. And to keep you down and to punish you. And that's the whole reason you took out the loans in the first place, just to try to get a foot up. Ay. And it's bothersome that the government, especially the IRS, they're really under this cryptocurrency thing. They want to see every single thing you do. And now the new thing for independent contractors and self-employed people is if you make $600 on any sort of little job, your bank reports that to the IRS. Hey, he made money. Whoa. It used to be, if you made $20,000 and $20,000 and you had 200 transactions, then that institution had to report you to the IRS. But I guess they figured people were making, $19,000 and having 199 transactions and not reporting their income fully to the IRS. So they decided to get drastic and say, if you make $600 on anything, we want to know about it because we want your taxes. Now, is that going after the big guy, the big oligarchs in America? Tyranny of the minority. I did a podcast on it. And the minority is not us. The minority are the rich people. The minority is not people of color. The minority is not poor people. The minority is not people from the Midwest who farm. The minority are the upper 1%. The tyranny of the minority, them against us. And that's what it's about. Well, I want to try to calm down a little bit, but I'm not going to be able to calm down. Oh, I have to do my intro. Because now I'm going to play a little bit of chess. And it's been a very poor chess week, I'll admit. I haven't played chess for quite some time on this live stream, and I'm supposed to do just a little bit every day to keep focused and to keep interest up in the stream. And I have done very poorly, I admit it. I try very hard, and I keep failing. And when I get my soundboard back, when I upgrade my Windows machine sometime, I hope, over the next day or two, I will be able to cheer myself and boo myself back into the priority of trying to do the right thing. So it's time again for Not Bobby Fischer Chess with your friend and mine, Ringo Starr. Just kidding, it's me. So we didn't do this one yesterday, and I should have, because now I saved it for today, and now I don't want to do it. This is a chessable puzzle. Usually I have to solve these in 2 or 3 moves. So every once in a while, 5. This is a 7-step puzzle. Now, normally, if this is a puzzle, like the chess.com puzzle of the day, I don't mind, because I can think about it and I can take my time. But when you're on Chessable, you are timed. So you have to think very quickly and very harshly to try to find the right move. So I'll try to do it. And you have to try to explain what you're trying to do so people can follow you. So white to play. Okay, the time is already ticking down. I've spoken too long already. So I have a bishop move. Oh, don't do that because this is going to do it. I have another bishop here. I have a knight, I have a queen. So where do you go? Well, I sort of like the bishop move, and I'm running out of time. I'm just going to make it and be told I'm wrong and then start all over. Okay, that was the right move. Oh, I can't believe it. Okay, so now I made one right. I made one right move. Now, if I were playing this myself in a game, I would go right here and put the king in check. However, that isn't always what happens, because these puzzles like to take your queen. They like to force you into sacrificing your queen, which I'm fine doing, but I usually don't see why I have to sacrifice her, and then I get all upset. Now I could go here and here and put the king in check. Now that's very interesting, actually. That's very interesting, actually. I almost want to do that first. I'm going to do it right now. Now, I was going to move the queen. I was going to move the queen. I was going to, as you know, I was going to move the queen here and put the king in check. So now, I want to put the queen there, but she's not going to be doing anything. They always like you to be checking something or taking something, and this is just a pre-move. But I do like it. I like it. I'm going to see what they say. Ooh, now these puzzles are getting more interesting. They're not quite as unforgiving, where I can make a move like that and not get in trouble. Now the temptation is, of course, is to move here and put the king in check. Well, not there. Move here. And then the knight protects. But then the king will just swingo over there, oh. But I think that's okay, because then the queen can go down there. And then... Ah, I see what it is. It's this one. I'm running out of time, so I just have to do it. Oh, that wasn't right. Okay. This was the move I wanted to make. And now they make me move it. So now I... move it? I don't know. I guess I just move here and put him in check. Nope. See, I'm falling down already. It's a pawn move to take the bishop. Now my queen is in danger, which is okay because I'll just move her out of the way. Okay, and then I said then we go here, and then it's over. No, it's not over. Okay, it's not over. So I would move the knight here, put the king in check, and then it's over. So my accuracy was 71%, which is not great, but I have done worse. Well, that's that for that. That was 7. That exhausted me. Now here's today's puzzle, I think, on chess.com. This one I can have a little more time to think, which usually doesn't mean I get it right. The Great Dane. So there, it's always referencing something that's a hint, and then you try to figure out the hint, and then the hint really doesn't have to do with anything. And I am black to move. See, I'm glad I checked, because this looks like a setup of white. So I'm black to move. Ah. Okay. Black. Okay. I like playing black, actually. I think it's an advantage. Which goes with my personality a little bit, whatever that means. So, black to play. So this king is going to take this rook if I move my queen. So I really have to be careful. Now I can move the queen all the way over here, but that doesn't do anything. They like action. I can move here, but then he takes. I really think the move is this to here. To protect the rook, but that may not mean anything. You know what I mean? Well, I drew that wrong. And this queen is protecting that pawn, so that's not really a danger. I can't go backward. Clicking and check. I'm going to make this pawn move. I like it. Nope. Try again. Oh boy. So. Is it a queen move? Nope. Okay. I'll go like this. Nope. Okay. So 3 tries, miss. What's a hint? Okay, it's a queen move. Nope. You see, now I'm just getting desperate. I'm just picking things. It's not this. Oh, it was that. See, then he takes my rook. I don't get it. Oh. If I go here, with the king in check, then the king just takes back. It's not a big deal. And if I go here, I'll try this. Nope. I'll try this. Okay. So I have the right idea, but I don't want to make the move because I lose my pieces. So I lost my rook and I lost my pawn. So now it looks like this queen, okay, goes here. And then it's check, right? Mate. Because the queen is protected by the pawn. Oh, it just seems so simple once you do it, right? Oh, what a bummer. What? Okay, so the king can escape by going there. Okay, so that's not the move. Okay. Okay. So maybe I'll go here and put him just in check that way. Okay. I'm trying to get too fancy for my own good. And then I can go one more. No, you can't. No. Oh, it's not a queen move. It's a pawn move. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, this pawn can't move, that pawn can't. None of these pawns can move because they're all stuck. And the king really can't move. You would love to move him here so he could protect both pawns, but then he's too close to the king. That won't work. So that means it has to be a queen move. I went the wrong way. All right. Well, it was slightly painful. But what isn't? Is it more painful to play chess or to worry about your consolidated spousal student loans? The answer is very simple. Dealing with the government is the worst thing of all. And we had a wonderful week of war and crypto and understanding that we've shared together. And I'm not being sarcastic about that. It has been a wonderful week, and we've learned a lot of things. A lot of dangerous things spinning in the air. If you'd like to get in touch, you can go to Twitter and super follow for only $2.99 a month at David Bowles. Or you can go to Facebook, Bowles, Instagram, Bowles Books. On Twitch, we're Bowles TV. On YouTube, we're Bowles Blues. And here's our Discord server. If you have something fun you'd like to share, semi-private, public, free, but not anything goes. Jan Marie is here tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. And I will see you again on Monday. And until then, please sleep well, take care of yourself, have a little nap if you can, go out for a walk, and may your soul be everlasting in joy. I will see you soon. Oh, and Dora says, or the Ukraine war. NATO will not support Ukraine's request of a no-fly zone. Now, that's very important, Dora, and I don't understand why Ukraine hasn't been part of NATO all this time. Now, I understand that Putin was trying to say, hey, Ukraine, you say you'll never go in NATO, then we won't invade you. And Ukraine said, well, we would say that temporarily, but not forever. And Putin said, no, it has to be forever. Which then guarantees that he would invade Ukraine. I don't understand the no-fly zone. I understand Alexander Vindman has said that we need to set up a lease and loan program with Ukraine. That they can lease and loan our planes, but the problem is they don't know how to fly our planes. And that's what they need is air support. They do know how to fly Russian MiGs. But the Russian MiGs are in Poland. And Poland is like, I don't think we want to get along with this. We don't want to be involved with Russia. But you have the MiGs. We know how to fly them. We can get in right now. We don't have to train on an American jet. We'll just get in and go. Oh, where's Ghetto Putin too? But I think it's too late. I think Putin has already won the war. It's been a week. I think the television coverage is trying to equalize a little bit, but he now owns the nuclear reactor. So that, to me, is just game over. And I don't think the Ukrainian people can give up. I think they'll be insurgents for the rest of their lives, but they're not going to be Ukrainians anymore. They're going to be Russians. And that's too bad. It didn't have to be that way. They should have stopped this the day he started it. And it should have been a worldwide explosion. Sitting out of control. Have a good one if you can. I think you're right. Putin won. Yeah, it's very clear he did. And he was determined. More determined than anyone around him. And I don't know why everyone's fearful of a bully like him. Because if you know anything about bullies, they don't stop until their nose gets bloodied. And do you want to have a world at war, or do you want to have a world that is controlled by one person, which is what's happening right now? He just threatens the world. I'm going to drop a bomb on you if I don't like you. And the whole world trembles. Well, we have a lot to think about. I will be online moderating Jana Marie's wonderful shows on Saturday and Sunday. I will see you there textually, and I'll see you live in person right here on Monday morning, and maybe we'll have a whole new Windows machine set up. We'll see. It's very exciting and also terrifying. But that's the world in which we live. I will see you soon.